This incredibly popular game is blowing up right now, and everyone is talking about what this game is going to become. So, for those of you who are looking to join in the over 5 million plus people who have downloaded this game, let's talk about Valheim. My goal today is to teach you how to get started in Valheim. When you spawn into Valheim, you're going to land in the center of these stones, and you will see depictions of things on these stones. These stones are boss altars, and you can see here when you defeat a boss, there's a trophy hook, and you can hang a trophy on it, and when you do so, you get a power. These powers help you throughout the game. They give you different status effects, things like that. I'm not going to spoil those. When you drop in, there's going to be a lot of information being thrown your way in the form of a raven named Hugin, who will be spawning, and he acts as sort of an in-game guide. But this is what I think you should focus on when getting started in the game. When you spawn, the first thing you need to do, you need to collect sticks and stones. So you can see on the ground here, there is stones and there are branches. Typically there's a few of them around the starting area here, but you may just need to go out a little bit into the surrounding area. You spawn in a biome that's generally very safe, and so you don't have to worry about too much, but they do have some mobs that could hurt you. So we'll talk about how to defend yourself soon, but let's just quickly, I think there's also a couple stones there. Nice. So you can see that when you look at something that you can pick up, it's going to say, press E to pick up. E is how you pick up everything in this game. Traditional movement keys as well, WASD. Space is your jump, and then crouch is your control. You can see a yellow bar there. If I were to sprint a little bit here, you can see it going down. That is your stamina bar. You have to be aware of that because when you run out of stamina, you'll just move very slowly. That's all. It replenishes pretty quickly when you don't have a lot of weight on. Over time, the bar could go down quicker depending on what your movement speeds are. But you can see here, there are some raspberries. So the first things you're doing, collecting wood and stones. Also, if you see berries, pick them up. You need food in this game. So once you have collected stuff, you can run back to the altar here. Ooh, if you see mushrooms, also pick those up. Those are food. First you collect some wood, and then you collect some stone. Once you have those things, you'll see on this side of your screen you have a crafting menu. The first thing that you should build in this game is a stone axe. You should build a stone axe because it acts as a great weapon against early game mobs like boars, greylings, and necks, and we'll run into a few of those in a second. But build yourself an axe. I'm not going to build one because I already have one in my inventory, and then that is how you're going to get started. An early game tip, if you are able to, if there is water sources near you, you can actually skip stone and go straight to flint, which deals a little bit more damage. As you can see here, one swing with this flint axe, I was able to take out that boar. There is these pre-generated structures already in the world, and sometimes you'll find chests or a beehive. So this is going to be a great opportunity for us to actually mark our map, because beehives are really, really helpful early game because you can get honey, which acts as food, but also later in the game it acts as brewing material. It's needed for pretty much everything that you'll need. So having bees is a great thing. So to open your map, you press M. Now, when you press M, you'll be able to use your scroll wheel to get closer. You'll see the stones where you spawn, and then of course you'll see where you are. Along here, you'll see a couple of different icons. I like to use the dot for points of interest. You give a double click on the map where you are, and then you can type in what it is, hit enter, and there it's going to be on your map. So when you press your map, you will see that. So keep it for later. While you're exploring, you're going to want to keep picking up stones and wood as well. There are other things we need to build. Once you have an axe as well, you can start cutting down things like these rotten logs or trees. And let's go ahead and do that now. I see another structure over here, which is great. Structures are always good. But then I also see some pine trees. So do you see the difference in the beech trees versus the pine trees over there? That's a very good thing to note. The pine trees mark the barrier of another biome. And it is a much more dangerous biome. It is the Black Forest. So initially, you're not going to want to venture too far into that area. So let's head the other way. Let's cut down this tree. So you can see swinging your axe does use some stamina. we got interrupted here by our grayling. So this is our first little combat in this world. So as you can see, you just aim with the cursor on your mouse, press click, and they shouldn't be too much of an issue even with just a stone axe. But you can see, having an axe, you cut down trees a heck of a lot faster. But let's cut down a real tree. So this beech tree here can be quite dangerous to you. So we just saw a grayling, we just saw a boar. Trees early game, also very dangerous. They could fall on you and they deal a lot of damage when they do. So make sure you're keeping an eye out where it's falling. Once it's on the ground, just keep giving it whacks. It's going to eventually split into 2 logs. I'm gonna move away here from this grayling. There we go. Let's practice blocking actually. So you can, Grey Dwarf. So this one is from the Black Forest and they're a bit tougher. But I was talking about blocking. So to block, you're gonna press your right key. So you can see I do this, and as they're attacking, if you block last second, you'll actually parry them. So you saw it blasted him backwards and he started flailing his arms a bit. Just like that. When they are flailing their arms, they are much more susceptible to damage. So you can deal a lot more damage if that were to happen. So let's practice again, little block, and a nice thing. It takes some timing, a lot to get used to. For graylings and even gray dwarfs, you'll be fine without a shield, but crafting a wooden shield isn't a bad idea if you want to make sure that you're not taking too much damage. Anyway, back to our log. Now it's on the ground, just keep giving a whack with your axe here, and as you can see, bam, just knocks it all down. As you're walking around, just keep an eye out for things, look for exploring. You might have noticed I picked up that chest. Well, that chest had some flint in it, so I could actually build my flint axe without going down to the water. The reason I keep saying the water is flint only spawns near water sources, so in order to get that, you would have to go down and find some water, which I don't see any immediately on our map. Sometimes you'll spawn right on the ocean, other times you'll be quite far. Ooh, that's excellent right there. You see that little foggy patch over there? That's going to be important soon. But we'll head back towards where we're going. You'll see here a boar. If you're able to sneak up on animals or mobs, they take a lot more damage in the early game with an axe. If you were to sneak up on a boar, you can actually one-shot them, which is huge because they do deal a little bit of damage. Sad Valheim, or sad Fathomness. Oh, my Hugin disappeared. Come back. What's wrong? What's wrong with me? I guarantee you he is going to talk about being encumbered. You need to lighten your load. So if you carry too much, so if I were to press tab here to open my inventory, you'll see here I have 301 weight out of 300 and it's flashing. That means I'm carrying too much weight. Typically, you're not going to be able to pick things up that allow you to go over that weight. I must have been pressing E. If I were to take that boar head trophy and just throw it away, you can see 299. When you're encumbered, your stamina does not recharge, which means you only have that amount of weight or that amount of movement, and then all of a sudden you'll have to stop and throw something on the ground in order to get your movement back. Okay, so first step is to build yourself an axe and start collecting more wood and more rocks like this. The next thing you're going to do is build yourself a hammer. So you can see a hammer here has 3 wood and 2 stone. You need one of these because this is how you are going to unlock all of your new crafting recipes. It also allows you to build. So when you have the hammer in your hand, so I clipped it to my second slot there, and you press right click, it's going to open up a number of things. And as you can see here, there's a lot that we can do, but a lot of it's graded out. And that is because the first thing you have to build is a workstation. So you need a workstation. Logically, you need to be able to work somewhere in order to build something. So this is that equivalent. When you put it down, all of a sudden, when you right click and you go to building, you'll see as long as you have wood, you're able to build all of these things. So another great thing about the workstation is you can repair all of your items for free at the workstation. But in order to use it, you can see it needs to have a roof. Let's take a look. In order to put a roof on it, you should probably put some walls behind it. So I'm just going to go ahead and slap down a couple wood walls here. So you select them from your crafting menu, and then you can see you can put them down pretty much anywhere within this circle. There is a circle on the ground. That is how far out you can build from. I can reach out and build, but at the moment I'm standing outside of the circle, I am unable to build because I'm not close enough to the workbench. Just another thing to keep in mind. But once you put one down, you can actually snap things to that, and they will go through the earth or rocks or wherever you are. It's a nice little building mechanic that way. Let's go ahead and put that one down there. And then I'm going to do a third one, just so it's really uneven, just how I like to build. And then you go in here and you click select thatched roof. So roof pieces are the only thing that count as coverage for these workbenches. So if you are using the floorboards, let's say, like this, that will not count even if it's over top of your thing. You have to use a roof piece, so keep that in mind. You can see that it says it's still too exposed, so I'm going to go ahead and just build a little sidewall there, and then I would imagine, yeah, it's still not loving it. Build a little sidewall there, and then I'm going to select that. That's quite nice, don't you think? And why not? Let's throw that corner piece in there like that. In order to break things that you've built, you have to look at it and then press in your scroll wheel. That will break the item for you, just as a heads up. There you go. As you can see, it snaps pretty well. It's really not liking this though. I'm wondering why it's too exposed. Let's get some additional roof out there, shall we? So in order to snap things to it, you just got to make sure it's lined up proper, and then you're good to go. This is going to be a very ugly demonstration, but there we go. So once you have your workbench all covered in, and yes, you can make it look nicer than this, I would encourage it. You can press E and you'll see that it brings up this menu here, which allows you to build a lot more things. Now in the beginning of the game, you won't see some of these things because they haven't been unlocked for you, but you will see this. This is your repair item button. You give that a whole bunch of clicks, and you would have seen in my menu at the top left that my stone or my flint axe and my hammer actually repaired itself along with my bow. And now you are essentially able to build, and you are able to build up the next step, and that is a little hut, a protective hut. For any of you who have played Minecraft, nighttime, you understand it. So you need to be able to build yourself a structure that is going to keep you safe at night, and you can sleep through night cycles in this game. Similar as well to Minecraft, at night the mobs get a bit tougher. They show up in higher numbers, so sleeping through your first night is a great bonus. And as you can see, the sun's going down. We're starting to get some of that twilight hour. Harvesting a lot of wood, as I mentioned initially, you're going to want to go out and cut down a whole bunch of trees. You don't need to build a hut that's this big. It doesn't look big, I know, but you can just build yourself a little room, and that should do it. You also don't have to use all these proper building sides as well. That probably should have been enough. But this is how I build. I believe I still have some additional wood. Okay, so now this is a very ugly house. Now, if you were to right click on your hammer, go to furniture, you will see the bed. You can go ahead and put that down in your home. But when you go to sleep in it, you'll do the first thing is set your spawn point. It'll always show up on the map looking like a bed. That is where your spawn point is. You can only have one at a time in this game, but that is what it is. So you can go ahead and set it, but then when you go ahead to sleep, you'll see there has to be a fire nearby. So nearby means just within a certain distance around it. If you were to go to your hammer, right click, go to miscellaneous, you'll see fire, a campfire, and you'll see you'll need 5 stones and 2 wood. So that's why picking up those stones is helpful. So you get to this point, you're not looking around in the dark for stones. There we go. So we'll put that down. Sometimes the weather in this game can become problematic, let's say. And so adding yourself a roof over top of your fire can also help making this as ugly as possible as well. One thing to be aware of is smoke inhalation. It can hurt you. So if you are in a room, this probably isn't closed enough, but if you are in a closed room and smoke is getting in, it can harm you. So if I was in here and these weren't there, the smoke would be coming in and then it would deal you damage. But now we'll be able to sleep. So to recap, your very first day in Valheim, you're going to spawn in, you're going to explore the area, grab some stones, grab some wood from the ground, or punch some stuff, create yourself an axe, cut down more trees, get more wood, build yourself a crafting station that is covered so you can repair your items, very important, and then build yourself the quaintest little hut to take a nap in. Now, you can actually use the pre-existing structure. So that one has a beehive in it, so I probably wouldn't choose that, as it can be, if you hit the beehive, it can poison you, but you can use one of those pre-existing structures, and if you put a workbench near it, you can actually repair the wood that's already there and add to it. So it's a great little feature of this game that you can add in there. I usually just build my own, and then you can see, press E on the bed, and then you'll go to sleep. That is your first day in Valheim. There we go. So you'll see there that when I woke up, it says you feel rested, comfort level 4, and I have an 11-minute rested buff. Now you might be thinking, what the heck is a rested buff? Well, a rested buff allows your stamina to reheal quite a bit faster. It also allows you to your health to regenerate a bit quicker as well. It is a very important buff to have. And if you are ever wondering if you just wanted to take a minute and relax a second, you can actually sit on the ground anywhere just by pressing X. Pressing X, you'll take a sit down. It'll say you're resting. You sit there for a little bit of time, and then you'll get an 8-minute rested buff, which is awesome. But we already have an 11 because we slept. Yes, day 2 in Valheim, the time where it is always foggy. So, you may have noticed that in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, you see a health bar there. That health bar is all of the health that you have, and you may have noticed that when I spawned in, I actually had more health than I do right now. And that is because I was eating food when we spawned in this world. So I'm going to say the next thing you need to do in Valheim, after you have created yourself a crafting bench and a little hidey hole to sleep in for now, and created a fire, is to get some food. So as I mentioned, picking up berries is awesome, because berries count as food. So when you go ahead and click 6, you'll see my health bar actually went up a little bit, but also it's going to start healing me up to that new level. That's what that food does. Now you might be saying, I would love to, after I've killed some of these boars, I'm going to go ahead and eat this raw meat, but I can't. Well, how do I do that then? Well, you need to create yourself a cooking station, and that is going to be in crafting. So you can see here, it's very cheap, just 2 wood. It has to go over a campfire, or a fire of some sort. By early game, a campfire. I usually be able to put a couple on there because they can stack. And then if you have raw meat in your inventory, when you click E on it, it's going to hang the food. Just like that. When you run out, it's going to say you don't have any cookable items. That makes sense. Now, it's important not to just leave your food. If you think about real life, you don't start cooking and then walk away and come back hours later and hope the food's there. Well, it's the same with this game. You have to wait around your campfire, or you can go repair your items, or go in your house and put things in a chest if that's what you want. But eventually it's going to make a sizzling noise, just like that. When it does that, it means the food is ready, and if you press E on it, it's going to pop off and make a hilarious noise, really. Make sure you're clicking on the right stand. If you were to leave it on there for too long, it's actually going to turn into charcoal and is no longer edible, just as a warning. So, now we have ourselves 2 types of food. So we've clicked 6, I can't eat any more raspberries. You'll know when you can eat more of a certain type of food when it starts flashing down in the bottom left-hand corner. So I go ahead and click the meat, and you can see it's adding a lot more to my health bar. So think about it. We had 25 health before I ate that berry. It got us up to around 35. And now I've eaten that meat. It looks like it's going to get us all the way up to about 60. It might be even more. We'll check in a sec. But that is an important thing. Now, we also found some mushrooms early on, so I'll put those in my inventory. And I will eat a 3rd type of food. As you can see, the bar goes up even more. The key in this game to giving yourself the best chance for survival is to always be eating 3 types of food. It is a beginner thing I really wish I knew. I was running around in this game for a number of days only eating 1 type of food, and I didn't realize how important it was to have multiple types of food. So be sure to do that. The easiest ones early game are killing the boars for their food. They're just in the meadow area here. A bit harder to see in the fog. Ooh, there's a deer. Getting berries and mushrooms. Those are probably going to be your easiest bets. There's more berries. Always get the berries. So now that you've collected all your food and you know how to cook it up, you can keep it in your hot bar, and that is going to be how I typically put them as 6, 7, 8, so I keep the ones closer to the front of my hot bar for items that I need, like axes, my hammer, of course, You can see the hammer is damaged there, so just walk over to the workbench, click the button a bunch, boom, everything's repaired for you. I can't understate how great it is that the repair in this game is free. That is awesome. But I'm going to say that your next step, now that you have your home, you have your workbench, and you have food, as well as a weapon, is probably, if you're a decorative type like me, you can build yourself a hoe. So you can see that if you go to the workbench, that recipe is going to be unlocked for you now. You need 5 wood and 2 stone, then you make yourself a hoe. The hoe is used for leveling land. So you'll notice that I built this. You can barely see the bed. It's just hiding under all the grass, and there's a bit of a hill under there. Well, the hoe, if you were to right-click it, it does 3 things. It turns things to a pathen. So if I were to do that, it just takes the land and gets rid of the grass. It doesn't change the land in any way. So around the workbench, I can just pathen out like that, and there we go. Look at that. How nice. You'll notice that it also levels the ground. Now this is a bit trickier for early game folks. I wish I would have known this, but it's going to take wherever you're standing on, whatever your player is standing on, and try and make everything you click from there that level. So if I were to do that and move out, it's actually matching this level, not going up here. As you can see, it's pretty level ground around here anyway. So if I go out there, you'll see that the ground's actually getting a bit higher than it was here before because it's trying to match this level. If I were to go this way, it's going to try and bring the ground down. It's not always going to be perfect because of the different levels of ground, but a good little tool. All you need to use it is stamina to level ground, which is great. Stamina regenerates like that. You use it too much, just give it a sec. There you go. All of a sudden now we have our little area all leveled out. We have our crafting bench in our hut. Okay, the other thing that it does is raise ground. I wouldn't really worry about this early game, not as important, but when you're building later on, you're probably going to want to raise some ground. So you can see that costs 4 stone to do, and you have to have workbench nearby, of course. But I do have 4 stone, so I'll demonstrate it now. If I click that, you can see clearly it raised the ground in this square-ish fashion. Now, if you were to take it and go back to level and go over it, it's actually going to level it just fine. So it's going to be up to you how you use that. This is more for the building. It's not essential, but I like to create a nice little beginner area in every world that I join. And to do that, I like to use the hoe. Okay, so that next step, you need to create yourself the bow, the crude bow. So go ahead and create yourself the bow. You're also going to need some arrows. Wood arrows are just going to cost you 8 wood in order to make 20 of them, and that's all you're going to need early on. And you need these because you need to get deer. So you kill the deer will drop a couple of very useful items for you. They're going to drop you meat. They're going to drop you, and there's some deer. That's perfect timing. So they're going to drop you some meat. They're going to drop you some leather, some deer hide. They might also drop you deer trophies, and those you do need. So you don't need the boar trophies, you do need the deer trophies. So in order to hit deer with a crude bow, there is a lot of drop on these. So I go a little bit above the target. And as you can see, it dealt a lot of damage really quick, and it didn't even alert this other deer. We might be able to get 2 here. So go above the deer, and there you go. So even just a level 2, even a level 1 bow should be able to... Ooh, that is a 1-star deer. We'll talk about those stars in a second. You're gonna want... That's hilarious. I found another altar. Yeah, so you're gonna want to kill the deer because you're going to need the deer trophies, which we did end up getting one, to spawn the first boss, Eikthyr. You need 2 of them. It's also the deer drop the deer hide, as I mentioned, and that is what you can use to build yourself some leather armor. Now, armor isn't necessarily a requirement for the first boss. The first boss is actually quite accessible for early game, and once you defeat it, it opens up a very large jump in as far as your skill sets goes. But if you want to be safe, go ahead and craft yourself some leather armor. So after a while, you're going to collect yourself a bunch of this deer hide, some scraps, lots of meat, and you'll end up getting yourself 2 deer trophies. Once you have 2 deer trophies, and if you want to have some armor, you can do that as well. What you need to do is you need to get your 3 food items ready and you're actually ready for the boss. So, in order to find Eikthyr, all you have to do is head back to your starting stones, and you'll see here a rune the shape of a deer. This is the Eikthyr shrine, and I believe it talks about the boss. So his antlers are branches of iron, they crack the rocks and bring down mountains. His hooves are the sound of thunder, his voice is a howling gale. Right next to it, you're going to see this little stone. If you click it, it's going to tell you the closest location to fight the boss. Now, we had actually already found one. I believe there's also one right here in this world, but it's going to tell you the closest place to fight the boss. So let's go ahead and take a look at that area. Let's see, I'm hungry. There we go. So, the foggy area where there is a table in the center here, you will find this shrine. There's a rune stone that says Hunt His Kin. Now that's just a hint if you find this place before getting the deer trophies, that in order to summon him, you have to do that. It's kind of a puzzle, but I've already told you. So all you need is to find the 2 deer trophies and you can summon him, which is great. So take a look at your little area here. It's okay. This is pretty good. But I did notice another one that I think would be even nicer to look at. So let's actually take a run over there. Okay, so once you have your bow, you have your deer trophies, and you've got your food situation all figured out, you can head back over to the shrine area, and you'll see here it's a mystical altar, 1 to 8 offer item. I've put mine in number 5, and when I press 5, it's going to summon the first boss. So a couple things to note: you're going to be using your bow for this battle, solo most likely. You can also get melee hits in, but he's a lot easier to take out from a distance, and you will take less damage. To summon the boss, put it in your hotbar, and then press that number at the altar. And you can see here that things are changing. Follow the light dots. The light dots are going to go to a place for respawning. Charge up your bow, and when he spawns, give it a shot right away. It does a huge chunk of damage right away. So this was the reason I didn't want to be necessarily over here, is because of these little ledges. So that was one of his attacks, is this little burst of lightning that he does. This is his second attack. It's an area attack, so just be aware of that. And he'll also charge at you, and he's got a little swing attack. Let's see if I can't bait that out. There it is. So he's going to do a little swing attack. You don't need to worry too much about that. What you need to do is just keep charging up your bow. Don't be afraid too much of that attack. But if you do see him aiming at you, just take a little side step, run away. Keep an eye on your stamina. That's going to be key. If you're worried about your stamina, just do a little walk around his rocks. He doesn't really know how to handle that. So you can just walk around the rocks, and he won't be able to hit you, and that's great. You can get all the stamina back in the world. Doing his little area attack, miss me. Then you'll just go ahead and keep shooting him. I like to stay close to that's his area attack. I like to stay close to the rocks because they are good for defense. Like I mentioned, you can just kind of walk around them. He shouldn't be able to catch you too easily. It's great. Now it's hard to get your stamina going. Oops. That was a great shot. That's gonna hurt. Ooh. Like I said, you're gonna take some damage if that happens to you, but don't worry too much about it. I have some great shots today, though. Keep an eye on your food. Keep an eye on your food. You do not want to be hungry during a boss fight. That's his little direct. Ooh, that's actually his area attack. As you can see, I took that attack right away, and my health, because I had just eaten, already replenishing, which is huge. He's probably gonna swing at me here. Take a little walk. Yeah, nice try. Got around your altar. So this boss is quite easy. Don't need to worry too much about it. Like I said, with a crude bow level 2, even a crude bow level 1, and 100 wood arrows, you should have plenty of firepower in you to help take out this boss. If he's doing that, let go of your bow and move a little bit. You should be fine. Almost down now. Couple more. He's gonna do the area attack. I ran out of stamina there. You saw the little bar flash, so just take a moment, keep an eye on him. He'll be fine. And down he goes. So when you defeat the boss, he'll flump over dramatically. Oh, on the rock. What a dramatic kill. And then he will pop, and he will offer you a couple of things. He is going to offer you a trophy and some hard antlers. So if you come up here, let's take a look. First of all, the trophy looks awesome. It's a great decorative item once you get to the point in the game where you can hang trophy heads up on the wall, but you will need one of them for the main area where you spawned in. The other thing it's going to give you is these hard antlers, and that is how you're going to create a pickaxe, which is the next big jump in this game. You can now break rocks to get stone, but most importantly, you can mine ores in the Black Forest. So that is the next biggest jump in this game. But before we get to that point, let's run on over to our little altar here. And let's grab our Eikthyr trophy, put it in our hotbar. And as you can see here, the sacrificial stone, you need to look at the hook and then press the number and it'll mount it and it will do a little glowy thing. Don't worry, it's not attacking you. I got a little bit scared by it the first time because it really does shake things. You're like, is this round 2? I hear about these 2 feet phase bosses. No, it's just telling you that the power is here now, which is awesome. Oops, put that away. So I can't actually activate the power now because I already had it on this character, but what this does is it actually creates a higher level of stamina regeneration for you. So if I were to go running really quickly, you can see all of my stamina go down pretty quick. So that's about, took me just over 3/4 to get back to my house from here. If I were to press F, F is how you activate your alt. Now I have the power of Eikthyr. Let's run back to the stones and see how much stamina it takes to get all the way back to the stone. So it was 3/4 of my stamina last time. Look at that, just over 1/4. So it dramatically improves your stamina. So this is great when you're running long distances, if you're carrying ores to get back to your base. Ores are heavy, and so you'll be making trips back and forth. We lucked out and we actually have a dark forest really close to us right there, which is great. So it's probably going to be some ores nice and close, probably right in here. But the boost is a huge help for movement. It regenerates pretty quickly as well. I think that's normal. Anyway, that is the first boss done in Valheim. This has been an introduction to Valheim. I hope you've enjoyed this, and if there are any improvements that you may have if you've played this game, take a look and put them down in the comments as well. I want to appreciate you for your time, and I look forward to doing more introductions to happy adventuring out there, Viking friends.